If your child is around 2 years old, many parents start to hesitate about whether it is a good idea to take their child out frequently, to travel, to fly on airplanes, and to experience new environments. Some parents believe that seeing more of the world is good for a child, while others worry that at this age, children are very sensitive to changes in their surroundings, and frequent travel may disturb their emotions, sleep, or sense of security, and even affect their development. Some parents also think that since a 2-year-old will not remember the trip anyway, staying at home in a familiar and controlled environment might be better. From a child development perspective, these concerns are very understandable. But the key question is not whether a child travels or stays at home, but what kind of experience the child has during these changes. At around 2 years old, children are extremely sensitive to their environment, but they are also learning rapidly through their bodies and emotions. They may not understand explanations in words, but they absorb the world through repeated experiences and emotional responses. For a 2-year-old, what matters most is not where they go, but whether they feel safe, supported, and emotionally regulated by the adults around them. When a child travels with familiar caregivers who are calm and responsive, many children are able to adapt gradually to new environments. However, if the trip itself is rushed, unpredictable, and stressful for the adults, children often respond with irritability, sleep disturbances, or emotional outbursts. These reactions do not mean that travel is harmful, but that the child may be experiencing more stimulation than they can comfortably manage. Many parents ask whether flying itself can affect a child's brain or long-term development. Scientifically speaking, airplane travel does not harm a child's intelligence or psychological development. What creates stress is not the flight itself, but long periods of restricted movement, irregular schedules, lack of rest, and adults pushing through exhaustion to keep a tight itinerary. When travel is planned with flexibility, sufficient rest, and realistic expectations, many 2-year-olds can tolerate short or moderate flights. However, frequent long-distance travel, multiple transfers, and large time zone changes can be very demanding at this age. This does not mean the child is unsuitable for travel, but that the travel style may not be appropriate for their developmental stage. Another common question parents ask is whether travel has any value if the child will not remember it. Well, 2-year-olds will not form clear memories of destinations or events. They do retain emotional impressions. They remember how it felt to be comforted, carried, reassured, or ignored. Their brains are forming a basic understanding of the world through emotional safety or stress. If a child experiences new environments while still feeling secure and emotionally supported, this can help build adaptability and emotional resilience. On the other hand, if each trip is associated with tension, conflict, or overstimulation, the child may associate change with distress rather than curiosity. Some parents then wonder whether it is better to avoid travel altogether and stay at home. Stability is indeed very important at this age, but stability does not mean complete isolation from change. Moderate, predictable outings and gentle exposure to new environments can help children learn flexibility. Short trips, familiar routines, and a slower pace can be beneficial, as long as the adults are willing to adjust plans based on the child's needs. Often, the most important question is not whether the trip is worth it, but whether the parents are emotionally prepared to travel with a 2-year-old. If parents find it very difficult to slow down, tolerate disruptions, or change plans, frequent travel may feel overwhelming for both parent and child. If parents can prioritize the child's rhythm and emotional state over schedules and expectations, even simple travel experiences can be meaningful. 2-year-olds do not need to see the world. They need adults who observe them, respond to them, and provide a sense of safety, even in unfamiliar places. Rather than searching for a universal answer, parents may find it more helpful to ask themselves whether the journey allows enough rest, whether they can respond calmly to emotional meltdowns, and whether they are willing to adjust their plans for their child. From a developmental standpoint, as long as a child's basic needs are met and emotional support remains consistent, being at home or being on the road will not negatively affect long-term development. What shapes a child most is not the environment itself, but how the child is treated within that environment. If you found this episode helpful, you are welcome to follow and subscribe to our channel and share it with other parents who may be facing similar questions. Your support allows us to continue creating thoughtful, science-based content to support families through each stage of early childhood.